Behind the fleeting scandal of Golden Age Hollywood, some legendary couples held a secret weapon that saved their marriages: an unshakable faith in God. While the world saw glitz, these stars relied on sacred vows to survive their darkest trials. This video reveals the deeply emotional, faith-filled journeys of the icons you love. Subscribe now to never miss these timeless stories. Before becoming Monaco's princess, a Hollywood star, Grace Kelly was raised in a devout Irish Catholic family in Philadelphia. When she met Prince Rainier III, they discovered a deep connection rooted in their shared Catholic faith. Their wedding of the century on April 19, 1956 at St. Nicholas Cathedral was far more than a royal spectacle. It was a sacred sacrament that sealed their bond before God. However, transitioning from the silver screen to palace life brought unexpected loneliness and cultural isolation for Grace. During these trying times, faith became the true anchor of their marriage. The couple prioritized praying together, raising their 3 children with strong Christian values, and channeling their struggles into Catholic charities. Grace's spiritual resilience provided a sanctuary for Rainier amidst intense political pressures, transforming their royal duties into a shared ministry of love. When a tragic car accident took Grace's life in 1982, a devastated Rainier turned to his faith for comfort, holding fast to the rosary they had shared. Honoring his holy matrimonial vows, the prince never remarried during his 23 remaining years. Upon his death in 2005, Rainier was buried right beside Grace at St. Nicholas Cathedral, the very place their covenant began, proving that their faith-filled love was truly eternal. Before cementing her status as a global humanitarian Hollywood icon, Audrey Hepburn sought solace from the chaotic glare of fame through her deeply spiritual partnership with actor Mel Ferrer. The couple met in 1953 at a party hosted by Gregory Peck and quickly discovered a mutual devotion to quiet faith. On September 25, 1954, they wed in a secluded ceremony at a tiny Protestant chapel in Bergenstock, Switzerland, a serene location chosen to shield their sacred covenant from the prying eyes of the press. Navigating a high-profile Hollywood marriage presented severe challenges, compounded by the profound heartbreak of multiple miscarriages before the joyful birth of their son, Sean. Throughout these grueling emotional trials, Audrey and Mel relied heavily on their shared spiritual values to maintain resilience, turning inward to protect their family dynamic from industry pressures. Mel fiercely guarded Audrey's delicate health, creating a structured sanctuary where she could heal. While the heavy burdens of public scrutiny and demanding careers eventually led to their divorce in 1968, after 14 years together, their union remained defined by a deep, foundational respect. The spiritual grace and quiet dignity Audrey cultivated during their years in Switzerland ultimately laid the groundwork for her legendary selfless devotion to suffering children worldwide with UNICEF. Through faith, they overcame deep personal loss, leaving an enduring legacy of grace under pressure that reshaped Hollywood's golden era. In 1949, Hollywood icon Ingrid Bergman sent a letter to Italian director Roberto Rossellini, sparked by a profound admiration for his art. This note ignited an intense creative and romantic partnership that shook the world. At the time, both were married to others, and their passionate affair ignited a massive global scandal, leading to severe public condemnation, industry blacklisting, and even denunciation on the floor of the U.S. Senate. Seeking refuge from the aggressive media onslaught, Ingrid and Roberto turned inward, anchoring their relationship in a private, deeply spiritual bond. They married in 1950 and found solace in the quiet landscapes of Italy, channeling their emotional turmoil into profound artistic collaborations. Despite the intense external pressure and the stain on her pristine public image, Bergman relied on a quiet, resilient inner strength to navigate the isolation, while Rossellini provided an artistic sanctuary where she could reinvent herself far away from Hollywood's rigid moral judgment. Together they welcomed 3 children, including actress Isabella Rossellini, raising them with a focus on deep artistic and moral values. Although the immense professional strain and financial difficulties ultimately led to their amicable divorce in 1957, their union was defined by a shared emotional resurrection. By facing down global hostility with dignity, Ingrid and Roberto proved that their connection transcended conventional expectations, transforming a public crisis into a testament of personal conviction and enduring artistic grace. The tempestuous romance between screen siren Ava Gardner and crooner Frank Sinatra remains Hollywood legend, but beneath the explosive headlines lay a fierce, deeply spiritual bond that anchored their lives. When they wed on November 7, 1951, both were battling immense personal demons. Sinatra's career was in a dangerous freefall, and the public harshly condemned their relationship. In this dark hour, they relied on a shared, unshakable emotional faith in one another, turning inward to survive the aggressive media onslaught. Their marriage was a volatile storm of passion and jealousy, yet it was also a sanctuary of profound spiritual resilience. Ava became Frank's saving grace, fiercely using her industry leverage to help him land his career-saving role in From Here to Eternity. This mutual devotion pulled Sinatra back from the brink of despair. Though their intense, fiery personalities ultimately led to a painful divorce, in 1957, their spiritual connection never truly severed. In the decades that followed, their bond matured into a quiet, lifelong sanctuary of grace. Frank quietly orchestrated financial and medical support during Ava's later health struggles in London, proving his enduring devotion. They fought fiercely, but they loved with an absolute transcendent intensity. By facing their darkest career and personal crises together, Ava and Frank proved that their legendary connection was forged in a resilient, soul-deep loyalty that outlasted the fleeting glare of Hollywood fame. The marriage of Academy Award-winning actress Loretta Young and radio executive Tom Lewis remains a resolute example of a Hollywood union anchored by devout Roman Catholic faith. When they wed on July 31, 1940, Young sought a family life built on strict spiritual foundations. Lewis shared her intense devotion, and together they transformed their prominence into a joint ministry of charity, championing Catholic causes and establishing a household structured heavily around daily prayer and religious duty. Behind the glamorous facade, their shared faith was severely tested by immense personal and professional pressures. The couple navigated the complex dynamics of raising their 2 sons, alongside Young's secretly adopted daughter Judy, a closely guarded Hollywood secret that required extraordinary emotional and spiritual resilience to manage under the relentless scrutiny of the press. Throughout these challenges, Young and Lewis leaned on their sacraments, viewing their marriage as a sacred covenant rather than a mere social contract. Though the friction of their strong personalities eventually led to a divorce in 1969, their spiritual foundation left an indelible legacy. The profound moral discipline and quiet grace Loretta cultivated during their years together guided her eventual retirement, allowing her to spend her later years dedicated entirely to Catholic charity work, proving their faith-filled bond permanently shaped her soul. While Academy Award-winning actress Jane Wyman is historically remembered as a Hollywood luminary and the first wife of Ronald Reagan, her private life was anchored by a profound spiritual evolution that culminated in a literal sacred garment, the silent habit. Married to Reagan in 1940, the couple navigated the immense pressures of rising stardom and political shifts. However, the tragic loss of their infant daughter in 1947 deeply fractured their union, ultimately leading to a painful divorce in 1948. In the wake of this devastating personal heartbreak, Wyman sought a deeper existential purpose, eventually converting to Roman Catholicism in 1953. Her newfound faith became the defining pillar of her remaining decades. Turning her back on the vanity of the Hollywood social scene, she quietly became a professed member of the Third Order of St. Dominic, now known as Lay Dominicans. Wyman channeled her wealth and influence into substantial, quiet, charitable works for the church, financing seminary chapels and local parishes. She spent her final years in prayerful seclusion, fiercely guarding her privacy. When she passed away in 2007, at the age of 90, she requested to be buried not in Hollywood glamour, but in a traditional draped Dominican nun's habit. This silent habit served as her final earthly testament, proving that her ultimate devotion belonged exclusively to God. The forbidden romance between Hollywood icons Patricia Neal and Gary Cooper began on the set of The Fountainhead in 1948, quickly becoming one of the industry's most painful scandals. Cooper was married to a devout Catholic woman, and Neal, much younger, found herself trapped in an emotionally agonizing situation. The pressure escalated to a devastating climax when Neal became pregnant and made the heartbreaking choice to undergo an abortion, a decision that would deeply scar her soul and haunt both of them for the rest of their lives. Realizing the structural ruin of their path, they severed their connection in 1951, sparking separate but parallel spiritual resurrections. This profound guilt eventually drove Cooper to seek true redemption. Guided by his family, he formally converted to Roman Catholicism in 1959, finding a deep spiritual peace before his death in 1961. Neal's path to grace took longer, winding through a turbulent marriage, severe strokes, and the tragic loss of her daughter. Seeking absolute solace from her past trauma, she turned entirely toward God and found sanctuary at the Abbey of Regina Laudis, a Benedictine monastery in Connecticut. There, under the spiritual guidance of her close friend mother, Dolores Hart Neal finally found forgiveness and healing. Her ultimate redemption was cemented when she converted to Catholicism, transforming a legacy of Hollywood heartbreak into a testament of enduring faith.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new videos. See you in the next one.